Hello, welcome to implementing SAP.com. This is Hassan Mir. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about introduction to SAP. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What's the objective of a company? Is to make money. How does a company make money? By producing product or service and by selling that to customers. Okay, in order to produce product or service, company might want to buy some raw material and company might want to buy some operating supplies, and they are bought from vendors. Okay, now beside customers and vendors, company also need to manage their employees. Company hire employees so that employees can help company make money, and company needs to pay the employees. And also company would have some assets like vehicles, land, etc. And of course these assets would be used in the process of making money as well. And if company is in retail business, company would be carrying some kind of inventory as well. For example, Dell Corporation would be buying hardware so that laptops could be assembled and sold, right? So there would be an inventory of the hardware within the company. So other than that, company would have a bank account in some kind of bank, and bank would be sending bank statements monthly or periodically to this company. Okay, so company would be managing customers, vendors, employees, assets, inventory, bank, and this is just an example of a typical business. Company might be managing other entities as well. So how would a company manage all these entities? In order to do that, company has departments. Each department has a fixed role. Each department deals with specific area of the business. For example, finance department deals with the reporting, and HR department deals with managing employees, etc. So a typical company is divided into departments. Okay, more example would be payables department dealing with vendors, receivable department dealing with customers, sales and marketing department doing sales and marketing, manufacturing department dealing with the manufacturing of the company. Okay, now each department would be using some kind of software to help the department run day-to-day business. Okay, and they can buy software from any vendor. These softwares could be really independent from one another. For example, finance department using one software, human resources department using some other software from another vendor. Okay, now where does SAP comes into the picture? Okay, so there is a special kind of software called ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. It's a very large software, huge software, which would have modules. Okay, so there would be a module for each department of the company. So instead of buying a standalone software, each department would be using a module of this ERP software. Okay, one or two modules would suffice for each department, and as a whole, company would say we are running an ERP application. And what would that mean to each department? Each department using standalone modules of the same ERP application. So what is ERP? ERP simply means Enterprise Resource Planning. It's a category of a software, and there are various ERP softwares out there in the market. So ERP software manages the whole enterprise, as we just saw on the last slide. Let's talk about the ERP market. SAP is the leader in ERP market. Latest version of SAP is called SAP ECC, ERP Central Computing. Formerly, SAP used to be known as SAP R3. That was the previous version before SAP ECC. It's no more a latest version. The second largest player is Oracle E-Business Suite, formerly used to known as Oracle Applications. Microsoft also produced their ERP called Dynamics, before formerly used to known as Business Solutions. Okay, PeopleSoft and JD Edwards were also big players. PeopleSoft was purchased by Oracle, and JD Edwards was purchased by PeopleSoft. Now both PeopleSoft and JD Edwards are part of Oracle Corporation. Okay, now let's talk about the company SAP AG. AG simply means incorporated in German. So SAP AG simply means SAP Incorporated. SAP should be pronounced as SAP, not SAP. Okay, that's very unprofessional and very wrong. Most people call SAP as SAP. Now SAP is the largest player in ERP market. It was founded in 1972 by some 3 IBM scientists. It's a pretty old company. It has 46,000 customers, 100,000 plus implementation worldwide running. Okay, that's pretty big. It has 43,000 employees, so it's a large company. Okay, now having said that, let's talk about SAP software itself. So SAP AG produces SAP business software called SAP ECC. So you can divide SAP ECC into products and components. Okay, so major product and components of SAP software are SAP ERP, enterprise resource planning, SAP CRM, customer relationship management, SAP SRM, supplier relationship management, SAP NetWeaver, which is technology stack running underneath the whole business application. We have SAP PLC, product life cycle. Okay, so each product or component can be divided further into modules. For example, SAP ERP have multiple modules. FICO is the most popular module of SAP ERP. When you configure SAP, you configure that at module level. Okay, so each module is configured, whatever module company wants to use, and this is how it works. Now let's talk about modules. Each module is specialized. That means each module deals with particular area of the business, so it's kind of standalone software, but yet all modules talk to each other. That creates synergy. Two ways of communication happens, two kind of communication happens between modules. Not all modules could talk to each other, like most related modules talk to each other. Entities are shared. For example, if you want to store employee, if employee entity is used by two different modules, then you don't really have to enter employees again in the second module. If you enter it in one module, the second module will simply pick that data from the first module. Okay, and data is transferred from one module to another as well. For example, invoices flow from one module to another. So two kind of communication happens. Now let's talk about the technology behind SAP. So SAP is basically a three-tiered architecture. Browser is mainly used to access SAP application. You can also use the thick client, like you can download SAP GUI, graphic user interface, for Windows, and for Linux we have like Win GUI and Java GUI. Or browser could be used as well. So it's a three-tiered architecture. Presentation layer is your desktop, laptop, or even mobile devices. So you basically your device connect to the middle tier. Middle tier is a large computer with lots of resources. An actual or SAP application is residing in the middle tier or application tier. This is the business logic tier of the three-tier architecture. Your browser is simply displaying the image. The actual software is running on the middle tier. So if three people are connected, all the three screens are being processed in the middle tier. All three people are basically seeing the image of produced by the middle tier, and data is stored in the database tier. Oracle is the most popular choice of the database when it comes to SAP, and so the relational database management system sitting in the database tier would basically manage your database, and middle tier, which is your application, would be talking to the database to retrieve the data and to store the new data in the database. Okay, so it's pretty flexible architecture in the sense, like if number of users increase in your company, you can increase the middle tier from 1 to 2 or 3. Okay, so now few people would connect to tier 1, like middle tier node 1, and few people connect to instance 2, and rest people will connect to instance 3. Okay, so now this will be kind of load sharing, and all these three tiers, middle tiers, would be talking to the same database. Okay, so and also it's much better architecture than as opposed to the client-server architecture. In client-server architecture, all the business logic would be sitting on your desktop, and there won't be any middle tier. So now if you want to upgrade your forms and reports, and if you want to upgrade your business logic, you have to run the patches on each computer, which is pretty inefficient. Now if you want to upgrade your business logic, you simply do the patching at the middle tier, and that's pretty much it. Your database tier and your presentation tier remains untouched. So it's pretty flexible in maintenance and scalability. Okay, so now we know that data is stored in the database, and data is stored in tables, and table, you can imagine table as a spreadsheet which would have columns and brackets. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the introduction to SAP. If you want to learn more about SAP, you can visit my website implementingsap.com. Thank you.